After the last episode, I saw someone commented about how maybe I was having trouble with the exercise of taking the shoulder out to the track because I was stepping my legs behind one another, and that was causing a problem for the horse. So, Chantel and I tested that. Here is me doing it, crossing my legs behind one another. And now for crossing the legs in front. I'll tell you right now, this is horribly awkward. After a couple of repetitions, Chantel and I both agreed that crossing the legs behind is more natural, and in fact, what I had been doing the weeks before was taking shorter steps. So by taking longer steps, the movement smoothed out. What is happening for me now is that I can see more things when they are right and wrong. For instance, I look through these videos from the last 2 weeks and I think, oh my god, this is awful. I lost the flexion so many times. Look at that hideous transition. Frankly, I wanted to dump all of the video. But it's a good thing that I'm starting to see all of this. It means that my eye is getting better. But my body and my timing now have to catch up. I can't stress enough repetition. Get out with your horse and beg, borrow, or steal anyone else's horse to practice with. The only way any of these skills can be improved is by doing it over and over with as many horses as you can. There are so many things to pay attention to while lunging or riding. Head and neck position, degree of impulsion, flexion, movement of the shoulders, movement of the sacral joint, contact on the lunge line or the reins. And that doesn't even come close to the full list. So I'm trying to knit this all together in motion, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. Here, Dynamico has good impulsion, but as he comes to the rail, he is overflexed to the right. Chantel pointed that out, and I got it better on the next circle. Chantel also said that sometimes when you work a horse, you have to find something to do better with. The overall lunge may be so-so. Not all the movements are going to be good. Maybe the horse was having a bad day. Maybe I'm having a bad day. The weather is changing and it's cold and windy. Sometimes you have to accept what your horse delivers to you that day and work with it to try to get some positive work out of it. Levi drives me batty, which probably means he'll be my best teacher. He's a very large horse, and because he is young and in rehab, he's uncoordinated. Chantel told me once that with Levi, If you can get him to do it perfectly, that's a real achievement, because perfection isn't easy for him. In discussing different horse personalities and how to work with them, Chantel made an interesting point. Warm bloods are always having a conversation with you. Do I have to? Can I do this instead? How about I do it over here? Do you really need me to do that? Etc. Other breeds, like Spanish-type horses, take instruction and go without needing constant reminding. My two horses, Picasso and Aries, are both Spanish type in my opinion. They take instructions and go do it and don't ask a lot of questions. It's been a challenge for me to learn to work with such a different personality type. One of Levi's little quirky things he needs to work on are his transitions. He tends to leap into the trot like he's clearing a ground pole. In order to get them, I have to have everything perfect, just the right amount of forward, just the right amount of contact, just the right angle in his body. So saying it's tricky is an understatement. And I can't repeat them too often or Levi will get annoyed. So each time I walk to trot transition is necessary, I have to be really good at getting it right so that I don't need to repeat it. This is a nice, easy transition from trot to canter because I asked at a good moment where Levi's body was in a position to easily take a step into canter. It was effortless for him and done without anticipation or rushing. Now that downward transition was not good. I did not set him up for this transition very well. I just let him do it, and on his own, he just fell out of the canter. To the right, Levi tends to be stiffer because of his injury. He is less inclined to use his body properly and has a tendency to brace his back more. It's my job to learn how to support him in a way that sets him up for success. You have to look at the whole horse, the whole picture. You are always looking for harmony. Is it a pleasure to watch, or is there something awkward happening there? And sometimes you have to get very creative in how you ask the horse to release tension from its body. Here, I got a decent transition, given how we started out the day. Instead of going for absolute perfection, I got better. And that's okay sometimes too. Even if I'm beyond frustrated, I try to always remember the horse is probably in the same boat. Just as between people, a little pat, a little encouragement, a little word of support goes a long way. So this is 5 days and a couple sessions later. I have a bit better grasp on how to work Levi properly, but I am still missing some things. For instance, here, I did not set him up for the circle very well, and the resulting turn was steep, causing his body to swing out. Every horse deserves preparation, especially young horses. Now that I have a bit better eye on that, I support Levi better, allowing him to move freely around the circle. Here, Levi picks up the wrong lead, which was my fault. So I let him come down, reorganized a bit, and asked again correctly. Bad transition. Levi clearly lost his balance there, and that was again my fault. Whether in hand or in the saddle, It's our job to support our horses. We should set up the requests we make so that it's clear for the horse, and then we make it as easy as possible for them to do it correctly. This is, of course, challenging if you mix in stubborn temperaments or injuries that make things difficult for the horse. But under all the complexity, we are asking another creature to move themselves in a very particular way for us. It's our duty to help them become all that they're capable of being. This transition is a good example of a downward transition done by following the horse progressively down from trot to walk. These are the kinds of transitions you want for a young horse in training because this allows their bodies to move freely and allows them to learn to develop their own balance without the interference of either the lunger or the rider. That was a better downward transition. Levi's head doesn't go flying up or down to try to counter his balance. He just trots. Transitions are very important and sometimes are easily forgotten or neglected. It's one thing to carry your balance while traveling at one speed. It's a much greater challenge to keep your balance while changing speeds. And transitions aren't just between different paces. It can be from medium to extended trot, collected to medium canter. Those are also transitions. You can't put too many restrictions on a young horse. Levi can look out and flex out every now and then, and it won't be a problem. He should have some freedom to stretch himself and look around. If you restrict a young horse, you can build tension and brace into his body, when what you want is freedom and flexibility. While still struggling to get good transitions, this day I remembered to keep an eye on his head and neck. Levi needs to travel with it low and out. This will help build up the muscles in his neck and back that bring about self-carriage. Coming down into walk to try an upward transition to trot. Meh, that was okay, but not brilliant. One more time. Not too shabby. He didn't leap hardly at all. Since this was filmed over a week ago, I have gotten much better at getting good transitions from Levi. Again, even though I am horribly frustrated with my lack of ability sometimes, it's not Levi's fault, and I thank him for giving me a good effort today. And he thanks me by using me to scratch an itch.